Language eliminates the possibility of Obama coming back to haunt him. Obama against Trump. I wonder what that would be. I'm just asking. Obama against Trump. What would that have been like? You know how Trump likes to troll people? Dog him out and stuff like that? What if he had tried that with Obama? As smooth as Obama is. You see how the whole Trump dance, right? Remember that? He gonna outdance Obama? The sizzle and, you know, the pizzazz, the chemistry, the cachet that he has with some people. You think he was gonna eclipse Obama with that?
Yep.
Everybody else. I don't know. All I'm trying to say is that when y'all mention the third term, what came to my mind before I saw that language was, does that mean Obama could run for a third term? Because what would that matchup be like? Anyway, time to move on and discuss other things. Joining me now to discuss the executive orders and what it all means for America is CNN legal analyst Elie Honig. Elie, how are you, buddy? How's everything going, man?
Great to see you, Stephen A. We are by the way, a world's record has just been set. Donald Trump just set the record for most executive orders ever issued on Inauguration Day, 26 of them. So I know we're not going to go through all 26, but no president has ever come in on day one and issued 26 orders before. So happy to be here and help you walk through which ones are most important.
First day of his term in office, 26 executive orders. First of all, I think when you think about that, what alarms you most about that? What should alarm Americans most about such executive powers being exercised so early?
Well, I think broadly speaking, just the blunt exercise of executive force like that. I mean, look, obviously the president has a lot of power, but these EOs, executive orders, are always controversial. I mean, Barack Obama came under a lot of heat and criticism because he issued what's turned out to be far less than Donald Trump. But people at the time said, well, he's trying to become a king. He's trying to just wave his magic scepter and make things happen. And now Donald Trump is doing that and then some. Now, executive orders, as we'll discuss, they're not necessarily bad or evil, and they have to go through a legal process. In fact, we're already seeing court cases on some. But what's clear to me is Donald Trump is taking office, and as promised, I guess, and true to form, right from day one, he is taking the position, I'm the president, I'm going to do what I please.
Let's get right into the weeds of some of these orders. Start with birthright citizenship. Trump wants to redefine birthright citizenship as defined by the 14th Amendment. The Trump order asserts that a child born in the United States is not a citizen if A, the mother does not have legal immigration status or is in the country legally but only temporarily, and B, the father is not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. The order also forbids U.S. agencies from issuing any document recognizing such a child as a citizen or accept any state document recognizing citizenship. This order is already being challenged in federal court. As you pointed out, break this down for us, Elie.
Yeah, so what Donald Trump is trying to do here really is reverse 150 years of American law. Under the 14th Amendment, passed in 1868, just after the Civil War, ratified, it says that any person who is born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction of the United States is a citizen. And just to make sure it was clear, Congress passed a law saying the same thing, and the U.S. Supreme Court had a case in 1898 where they said the same thing. What Trump is trying to do here is sort of change and really tweak the definition so that it does not apply to somebody who's here illegally and has children here. But that's just contrary to what it says in the Constitution. And not surprisingly, Stephen, just yesterday, a federal judge, so 2 days after Trump got sworn in, a federal judge said, hang on, and put this on what we called an injunction, meaning he put it on hold. And a couple things about what happened in court yesterday. One, the judge tore into the government lawyers for Trump. He said something like, this is one of the most ridiculous legal motions I've ever seen, that you're trying to change what birthright citizenship means. The other thing is, now, as I'm telling you this, you're probably thinking, oh, must be an Obama or a Biden appointee to the bench. No. Ronald Reagan appointed judge, exactly. And this guy had no patience for, no credence to the argument Trump's lawyer was making at all.
That's actually a reason to be hopeful, because you've got somebody that was appointed by Ronald Reagan who is disagreeing with such a thing. That gives us, it reminds us of what our country is supposed to be about in terms of being a nation of laws. Let's go to the whole DEI issue, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Trump's executive order gives executive branch departments and agencies 60 days to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, including all chief diversity officer jobs. It also terminated a 60-year-old executive order setting anti-discrimination requirements for government agencies and contractors. Meanwhile, a separate memo effectively put all federal DEI officers on immediate leave pending their elimination. What do you make of this, Ellie?
You know, Stephen, I'm not sure there's much that can be done about this in the courts, because here's the thing with executive orders. They apply to the executive branch of the federal government. So the president cannot issue an executive order that tells Congress what to do, tells the courts what to do, or really even tells the states what to do, although the feds can sort of control federal funding based on what the states do. But this, to me, is, whether you agree or disagree with the substance of it, what an executive order legally can do, which is say, okay, our new policy within the federal executive branch, that's all the agencies, White House, DOJ, EPA, on down the line, we are going to have DEI initiatives. We're not going to have DEI initiatives. So I don't know that there's much chance of upending that in court, but I will say, and you mentioned this, if the executive orders cross the line and start to discriminate against forbidden areas, race, gender, sex, that kind of thing, then we can get into court challenges. But just saying we're going to get rid of DEI officials, I'm sure someone will challenge it in court. And without getting into whether it's good or bad to have these things, I'm not sure that there's going to be a way to overcome that EO.
My issue with this, Ellie, is that how they're trying to define DEI. They're trying to define DEI programs as basically handouts, and essentially we want to do away with all of that. And I'm like, they don't pay any attention to why it came into existence to begin with. I use examples like the Rooney Rule in the National Football League, or even affirmative action from the 60s. Yeah, you can lament its existence, but what provoked its existence? To me, that's never, ever been discussed, okay? That's where I'm at with it. Let me go on to the subject of term limits, because I know I couldn't wait to ask you about this one. One of President Donald Trump's top congressional allies, Tennessee Representative Andy Ogles, introduced a resolution last night that would allow the commander-in-chief a third term. What the hell is going on here, Ellie?
I didn't even know that until you told me that. I guess you can see in my reaction. Look, this is a pipe dream. This is not, there is a way this could happen. It's called amending the U.S. Constitution, right? The Constitution limits presidents to 2 terms. If we are going to amend the Constitution, I guess you can add a third term. But the process to amend the Constitution, Stephen, is almost impossible. We last did it, by the way, in 1993. I think it's been a long time. You would need to get 2/3 of the House of Representatives, 2/3 of the Senate, and then 3/4 of the states. So 38 of the 50 states would then have to approve it. So this thing is DOA, dead on arrival, no chance. But Stephen, to your prior point also, understand a lot of what's happening with these EO executive orders, with these congressional movements, they're politics. I mean, some of these are symbolic. Some of them are specifically symbolic. We're going to change the names of what we call mountains or gulfs or whatever. But even something like birthright citizenship, I don't believe that Donald Trump believes he's going to win that. I don't know that he cares, though. I think he's trying to make a point here, have the fight, and say, look, I wanted to do this for you, but the courts struck me down, stupid, mean courts. So this third term is, I'm not going to bet on that happening.
Well, see, the thing that bugs me out about it, Ellie, is this. Yeah. These are conservatives that are making this proposal. Who is dogged more than anybody else about us living according to the tenets of the Constitution? Wouldn't that be them? But our Constitution clearly calls for a 2-term limit, and nevertheless, here is a Republican representative trying to propose such a thing, which to me is just reeks of hypocrisy. Last one here would be the JFK, the RFK, and the MLK files. Trump signed an executive order that called for the release of all classified documents related to the assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr. Meanwhile, the family of MLK offered their response to President Trump's decision to release the files related to the assassination of the civil rights icon nearly 60 years ago. And here is a quote from the family. Today, our family has learned that President Trump has ordered the declassification of the remaining records pertaining to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert F. Kennedy, and our father, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. For us, the assassination of our father is a deeply personal loss that we have endured over the last 56 years. We hope to be provided the opportunity to review the files as a family prior to its public release. Ellie, first of all, what do you make of this particular executive order calling for the release of these classified documents? And what's the reasoning behind it?
The truth.
Well, first of all, legally, there's nothing that can be done to stop that. But I totally agree with you. If you're going to do this, you have to start with the families. You have to respect the wishes of the people who were murdered. I mean, their children and grandchildren are still with us. Second of all, you at least have to honor the request to let them see the files first. What's behind it? I mean, this is just something that I think Trump is doing, out of populist instinct. People want to see it. People are going to see it. I don't think any of these files, by the way, are going to have some sort of, no pun intended, smoking gun that's going to change our view of what happened. But look, to me, this is one of those things that's within the very, very broad powers of the presidency. Heck knows I would never do this. I would never want to do anything to upset the surviving families of an assassination. But, look, the guy just won the election. This is within his purview.
I will say this, though. There's a lot of noise, and then you hear that this is something he wanted to do during his first term, but both the CIA and the FBI both discouraged him or tried to discourage him from doing so. So I'm wondering, what role does that play in his thinking? Could it expose something about the CIA? Could it expose something about the FBI? And is that what President Donald Trump wants in light of what he's had to deal with from his first term and since he's departed from office the last 4 years when it came to these agencies? I'm wondering what role that may have played in motivating him to want to do this.
Yeah, it could be. Look, the CIA and the FBI can certainly weigh in with the president and say, hey, sir, we do not recommend this. But ultimately, it's Trump's choice. But you're right, Stephen. I mean, Donald Trump has adopted a very anti-law enforcement posture throughout his campaign, but especially, the last several months. And he comes into office, and what's the first thing he does? He pardons all of the January 6th rioters. It seemed like he was maybe going to pardon the nonviolent people, comes in and pardons everyone with one fell swoop, even though J.D. Vance had said a couple of days before, obviously, he said, quote, you shouldn't pardon the violent people. But yeah, look, it wouldn't surprise me at all if there's some sort of anti-law enforcement, what he would call the deep state type sentiment behind this move.
Let me transition to sports before I let you get on out of here, because I'm told you are a Philadelphia Eagles fan for the National Football League. First of all, is that true? And secondly, do you have them winning this weekend?
Very true. When I was a kid, I grew up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, South Jersey, and I was all about the Phillies. I found the Eagles boring until, you're going to know what this is, until what happens in the mid 80s that makes everyone go, holy crap, this is exciting. What did the Eagles do?
Well, they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the early 80s or 1980 with Dick Vermeil coaching them. After that, who was the guy who would have captured a 10-year-old's attention? Like, holy crap.
You talking about
Randall Cunningham?
You got it.
Are you going to say Randall Cunningham?
When they drafted Randall Cunningham, all of a sudden, I was in. I mean, I was riveted by nobody was doing the things you remember. I mean, you were right. Nobody was doing the things this guy was doing. He was so spectacular. He had that Monday night game against the Giants where they knocked him down. He still threw the TD. So I've been all in on the Eagles ever since then. Like any good Philly fan, I'm terrified beyond reason. So I guess I'm I know they're favored by 6 points, 6.5 points, whatever. I get that rationally, but in our nature, we have to be pessimistic and nervous until it's over.
Well, you should be worried. That'd be a wise thing for you to do. This brother Jaden Daniels is no joke. He's no joke. I'm still picking the Eagles to win myself, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm telling you right now, this brother can make a difference. Make no mistake about it. Ellie Honig, legal analyst for CNN, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much for coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule. All the best.
Appreciate it. It was great to be with you. Thanks.
All right. Coming up, he's set to fight next weekend in a match dubbed the Battle of the Unbeatens. David Benavidez, the Mexican monster, joins the show as he prepares to put his undefeated record on the line. That's ahead. But first, it's Championship Sunday. We'll break down the AFC Championship game between the Bills and the Chiefs and the NFC Championship game between the Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. All that and more up next right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Don't go away. All right. I need everyone to stop what you're doing and listen up. And we're in smack dab in the middle of the NBA season. So with all that action going on, the Stephen A. Smith Show wants to make sure you take advantage of it all. That's why we've partnered with Prize Picks. Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show. Let's get into the NBA, specifically the All-Star Game, whose starters were named last night. In the East, the starters are Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, and two of my New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Okay, that's your Eastern Conference All-Star starters. In the West, the starters are LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, Kevin Durant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Steph Curry. Okay, a couple of things right here, right? I have no issue with anybody in the East. Okay? I know that LaMelo Ball's been balling and stuff like that, but look, Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns been balling, Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers and the way they've been looking and the way he's been looking at leading them, of course, it should be no problems with that lineup. It should be no problems whatsoever, okay? So we got to look at that for what it is and stand down. The West is a little bit interesting. Let's go over those stars again. Nikola Jokic, Kevin Durant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Steph Curry, and LeBron James. I think Victor Wembanyama should have been a starter. I think a legitimate argument can be made for Anthony Davis being a starter. And I think the combination of the two automatically should omit Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a superstar in this league. He's absolutely sensational. We know that. But he's missed 10 games. The Phoenix Suns are 10th in the play-in spot. Okay? And they're just not that great this year. He is, but they're not. When you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, yes, Anthony Davis should be in there, but I'm not going to dismiss that. The Lakers right now are the 5th seed. LeBron James is in his 22nd season at age 40 and balling. First of all, he has a merited status, so you'd put him in there as a starter anyway, but he's playing worthy of being a starter. So I can't knock that. I can't remove him from the lineup. Okay? Anthony Davis should be in there. Victor Wembanyama should be in there. Which means, because why? Victor Wembanyama is averaging 24 and 10. Shooting 35% from 3. 47% from the field, leading the league in blocks with 4 a game. And the Spurs are 2 wins away from matching last year's season total in wins. And they're about to do it before the All-Star break. Victor Wembanyama, to me, warrants consideration as a starter because of that reality. And Anthony Davis because of what he means to the Lakers. And the Lakers are a top 5 seed in the Western Conference right now. I think he should be in there. So to me, Kevin Durant should be coming off the bench. Now, for those of you who don't know, the reserves are chosen by the 30 coaches. 14 reserves, 7 for each squad, are chosen by the 30 coaches in the league. They choose who the reserves are. Okay? Fair enough. The starters, it's 3 voting groups determining the starters for the NBA All-Star Games. Fans take up 50% of the vote. NBA players, another 25%. The media, another 25%. And the reserves are chosen by the 30 coaches. Now, some will sit up there and say, well, does it really matter because of the new format? Because the new format, you're talking about 24 All-Stars spread out amongst 3 different teams of 8 players. The winner of the Rising Stars game would be the 4th team for a bracketed tournament of sorts. That's what they're saying. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't give a shit. It's a waste of time. And because we know that all of this is about effort. If the players showed up and gave you the kind of effort they give you during the summer when they're working out with each other, if they did that for you, we're not even having this discussion. There's no format change. A format change, the reality of a format change is an embarrassment for the NBA because it shows that the players have to be incentivized for playing in front of the fans at All-Star Weekend. I'm done with it. I don't give a damn about this format. Not even a little bit. I had to read it to remember what the format was because I never cared about it to begin with. By the way, some people talk about Luka Doncic even though he's had his slew of injuries this year. And, you know, once upon a time, the fans had him voted in as a starter. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't have All-Star Weekend in San Francisco and Steph Curry's not starting. First of all, he's still great. Secondly, he deserves it. And third, that fan base would have went ballistic. You can't have that. Of course, Steph Curry got to be a starter. Can't you imagine announcing players and Steph Curry, of all people, ain't a starter in San Francisco? You lost your ever-loving mind? That wouldn't suffice. So we need to remember that. Of course he has to be a starter. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I voted for him MVP last year. If I had a vote right now, he would receive my vote for MVP right now. I know that Jokic has had 5 straight triple doubles. I know Denver's coming on strong. I know that Jokic is a bad brother and a 3-time league MVP. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will get my vote again. Do y'all realize that Oklahoma City is winning games and Chet Holmgren has been out? And Hartenstein is out too? You realize that? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the truth and a half. This is the pick that Kawhi Leonard blackmailed the Clippers to get Paul George. They had to pay the farm. They had to give away Shai Gilgeous-Alexander along with picks. Got Paul George. He's now Philadelphia 76er. But Shai Gilgeous is still in Oklahoma City in the prime of his career, being top 2 for league MVP honors. That brother. This is what Kawhi Leonard hijacked and blackmailed the Clippers into doing. You don't do that. You don't do that what it takes to get Paul George here. I'm going to the Lakers. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. Those are my thoughts. I don't even want to. I'm so pissed off with these. Not most, not all, but some of these cats, the NBA. I'm so pissed off. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I ain't want to talk about it anymore. Coming up, the Mexican monster himself, David Benavidez, joins the show as he prepares to put his undefeated record on the line against David Morrell Jr. That's next, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Go away. All right, everybody, listen up. With all the big-time sports action that's happening each and every day, NFL games, NBA games, and the college football.
Hamas captivity this morning. We have a live report next.
Plus, President Trump will be in Las Vegas today to speak on his no tax on tips campaign promise. After touring fire damage in Los Angeles, leading to this exchange with Mayor Karen Bass.
You have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked, I mean, you have a very powerful emergency.
Riveting, amazing TV that was. And I just got back from the March for Life, where I got to talk to marchers about the future of the pro-life movement. Watch.
When I think of Gloria Estefan, I think of you.
When I think of you, that's Janet Jackson.
Oh, I wasn't even intending to.
She's right.
Drop a line. Yeah.
I saw her perform once at. I'm part of the Congressional Spouse Club, and she came to speak at our First Lady luncheon. To perform, and I realized
Really?
yes, she performed at the first. It was under Barack Obama's era, so she did it for Michelle Obama. But in any case, she did it, and there are performers, and then there are performers. Like, she is a pro, and it was one of the best sets I've ever heard.
I guess you admit. Damn, gas is high. I should have passed it right there. Time for Trump to handle these gas prices too. It's fucking ridiculous. America, they can't cook right. They're pathetic. Machine gives you what it want to give you. Get her on the bus.